Gossip is not to be tolerated on the worship team. This is not my rule. It's God's rule. 1 Timothy 5:13 tells us, "And withal they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers also, and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not." First and foremost, let's get this out of the way front and center. As a leader, you are not to be gossiping. This is judged very harshly in the Bible, and for good reason. I'm going to give you plenty of verses here in just a minute. But let me tell you, I understand that you may feel the need to vent sometimes. Don't fall into that trap, because really, it is just that. It's a trap. You are not just venting. Most likely, you're looking for a need to validate your feelings, and it's a trap from the devil. So if you reach a frustration point and you feel the need for outside counsel, ask yourself first, am I looking to validate my feelings? Now, there are times when you will truly need outside counsel in making decisions. But if you can take a need to have your feelings validated out of that equation and then approach the issue, you'll be far better off. I've told you this quote before, and I really think it's applicable for what we're talking about today. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people. All of this covers you as a worship leader. You are not gossiping. That way you're setting the tone, and now you can go to your team and show them the standard that God has set before us. We are not going to gossip on this team. The best way to approach gossip on your team is to really catch it before it starts. But even if it has, you can still do something about it. The next time you gather as a team, you can go over these verses that I'm about to read off to you with your team and let them know that this is not you picking on them. This is a commandment from God, and you will enforce it if necessary. We're going to start off with Exodus 23:1. "Thou shalt not raise a false report. Put not thine hand with the wicked, to be an unrighteous witness." Next, we have Proverbs 16:28. "A froward man soweth strife, and a whisperer separateth chief friends." Next, we have Luke 6:31. "And as ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise." Next, we have Ephesians 4:29. "Let no corrupt communication proceedeth out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers." And next is 1 Timothy 5:13. "And withal they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers, and also busybodies, speaking things which they ought not." And next, we have Titus 3:2. "To speak evil of no man, to be no brawlers, but gentle, showing meekness unto all men." Now, this is something that you can go over with your team, but these are not all of the verses on gossip. You can ask your team to look up a few more. The internet makes it really easy, so you can even have them do it right there in front of you, especially if you don't think that they're going to do it when they go home. It may even help them to feel more involved. A few keywords to help you find them are talebearer, bridle, tongue, and slandereth. I'll leave these words and these verses down in the description box below so that you can have an easy reference for them. After they type in those words in whatever your search bar is, you can type in Bible after that, KJV, or something similar. It'll bring up quite a few verses. There are quite a few verses on this, so remember, you are merely enforcing a standard that God has set for us as believers. So don't back down or be lenient on this one. You can even follow up with your team individually about this later. In a previous video about accountability, I told you that individual communication is key. You can not only let your communication be with your team when they're all together, because if you do, then you're missing out on a vital aspect of leadership. Trust me, it's vital. The longer you go without communicating individually with your team, the more difficult it becomes. Establish an open line of communication as early as possible. Be sure to let them know that they can come to you with whatever they need to, and that it's not going to shock you. Your team should always be able to trust you. That is foundational. And this part should go without saying because, again, you are not gossiping. If they feel safe with you, then shame will fall right off of them if they come to you. Gossip can rip your team into pieces. I hope you can see why it's such an important issue to address.